Ty Crandall here with Credit Suite, and today we're talking more about credit scoring, but today we're going to be talking about a credit score that not a lot of people know about. As a matter of fact, most people don't even know the score exists. And that's what we're going to be doing, is we're going to be diving in and decoding this score. So last week we talked about consumer credit scores. We broke down a lot of things with consumer credit scores. As you know, some things are changing in July. We talked a little bit about that with public records not showing on consumer credit reports. Today, we're talking about your bank credit scores. So if you own a business, or if you're thinking about starting a business, you need to know this, because you're not going to get a bank loan or any kind of loan from a lending institution for your business unless you have a high enough bank credit score. But here's the kicker. Most people don't know anything about this credit score. Hey, what's up, Gray House Consulting? Welcome. So that's why we're reviewing it today. You can't probably go online and Google bank credit score. You can't probably go and Google bank rating and find any information at all. As a matter of fact, you'll probably find my blog posts and videos if you do go to search. And that's because banks don't want you to know how this score works. But if you know how the score works, well, then it's easy to have a lendable bank credit score. You're awesome, strong, intelligent, and a blessing on earth. Don't let anybody tell you different. Richard, thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's awesome of you. So this is why I want to do this today, because what we found and what I become very good at and developed a company that what we do, and I think we do a pretty good job, is figuring out why people can't get the money they need to be able to start and grow their business, and then reverse engineer a way that you can. And the only way we can do that is to figure out why banks turned you down to begin with. When we know why banks turn you down, we can reverse engineer to figure out how we can then get you approved. And a large part of getting you approved for bank financing to grow a business comes down to you knowing how your bank credit score works. If you know how your bank rating works, it's fairly easy to control. And once you can control it, then 90 days before it comes time to apply for a loan, you do what needs to be done to get your bank rating in check, and then you can get a business loan. So before we dive in, let me give you an overview. There's three types of credit you have as a business owner. Consumer credit. Obviously, you're familiar with that. You have credit with TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian if you live here in the United States. Second kind of credit is called business credit or corporate credit. This is credit that is issued for your business EIN number. Now, again, a little different if you're watching this from outside of the United States. If you're in the United States, your business is issued an EIN number, and just like you can build a credit profile for your personal Social Security number, your business can build a credit profile and get scores based on its EIN number. The profile is linked to the EIN, just like your consumer credit profile is linked to your social. The third type of credit is called bank credit. It's also called your bank rating. This is a score you will never see. You will never definitively know what this credit score is because banks don't release it. There's nowhere you can go to see what your bank rating actually is. But there's an easy way to know what it is, and I'm going to teach you that right now. So if you ever want to get a business loan for your company, you've got to have all three be good. Now, don't get me wrong. You can get tons of business credit regardless of personal credit quality. You can get tons of business credit regardless of your bank credit score. But if you want to walk into a conventional bank like Bank of America, Chase, then you're going to need to have all three be good because they're going to do an SBA loan and they're going to want to see good consumer credit, good business credit, and good bank credit. So if you ever want to get a loan to fund your business, to grow your company, you need to know what we're going to talk about today with your bank credit score. So let's go to the whiteboard and take a look. This is more of what we're talking about today. So we're talking about three types of credit. We talked about some of this yesterday. We're going to talk about last Wednesday. We're going to talk part of it about this today, and then next week we're going to talk about this part, which is business credit scores. So last week we talked about this. We talked about how your consumer credit scores worked, and I talked to you about how each aspect of the score works and each aspect of that aspect of the score works. If you missed that, you can go right to Periscope and see it, or you can go to creditsuite.com/scope and get our previous scopes. This week we're talking about this. We're talking about something called bank credit. This is something that's issued by your bank if you have a business. The banks all share an internal score that rates the lending, the likelihood that you should get a loan from the bank. And if your score's high enough, well, then you can easily qualify for a bank loan like an SBA loan. If you don't have a high enough bank credit score, you will absolutely 100% get denied when it comes time to apply for a bank loan. Hey, new legacy, what's up on Orlando? My wife and kids were just over in Orlando yesterday over at Disney, and we spend a bunch of time over there. I'm actually going to be over there in a matter of a few weeks. I love Orlando, so welcome Orlando. So 3 types of credit: consumer credit. Hey, Charlize, welcome. Consumer credit, business credit, bank credit. 3 types of scores. Last week we talked about this. If you want more information on your consumer credit score, go to creditsuite.com/scope. You can get all of our previous scopes. Next week, we're going to decode everything to do with how your business credit is scored. Right now, let's talk about your bank credit. So here's how the bank credit works. The bank credit score is primarily based on this factor, although there are other factors. The 90-day balances of your bank account. So your primary business bank account, the question becomes, how much money do you keep in your primary bank account? Now, here's how the score rating works. You're either issued a high 5, mid 5, low 5, high 4, mid 4, low 4. Now, a 5 is what you need to get a business loan, period. You will not get approved for a business loan at your bank unless you have a high, mid, or low 5. The low 5 is scraping the bottom of what's lendable. High 4, mid 4, low 4 are all unlendable. So what we're primarily looking at here is how much money over the last 90 days, very important, and I'll revisit this in a second, do you keep in your primary business bank account? If you keep 70 to 100 grand, well then you're gonna have a high 5. If you have 40 to 70 grand, a mid 5. If you have 10 to 40 grand, you have a low 5. So the bottom line is, if you want to get an SBA loan at your bank, you've got to have at least $10,000 in your bank account, averaged over the last 90 days, to have a high enough bank rating to get approved. If you're less than 10 grand anywhere here, you will not get approved for a conventional bank loan. Now, this is actually really good news. So it's not good news. It's great news. Here's why. It's a 90-day balance average. So if you're going to get a business loan, now that you know this, all you need to do is make sure that you have 10 grand or more in your bank account before you think about going to your bank to apply. Now, don't get me wrong. Guys, in the last few weeks, we've talked about a bunch of other loan options that you can get when you can't get money at a bank, right? We talked about how to get high-limit business credit cards and how to get cash flow financing and collateral financing. If you missed that, go to creditsuite.com/scope. We mapped out a bunch of ways, like 20, 25 different ways to get a loan when you can't get a loan at your bank. But if you want an SBA loan at your bank, here's what you need to make sure you do. 3 months before you apply, you got to get 10 grand in that bank account. Maybe it's your revenues. Maybe it's your profits. Maybe you use one of the other types of financing we talked about in the last few weeks, borrow 10 grand and put it in your bank account. It doesn't matter. What matters is for your bank rating to be lendable to get an SBA loan, you've got to have 10 grand in that bank account. If you don't have it, then borrow money with one of these other options that we've talked about over the last few weeks over here, the 3 types of lending. And if you missed that, go to creditsuite.com/scope. Get 10 grand, put it in your bank account. Make sure it's there 3 months before you apply. As long as you have that in your bank account 3 months before you apply for a bank loan, you'll have a high enough bank rating. So let me kind of give you this as an ways to get money when you can't get money at your bank. You can get money just because you have consistent cash flow. You can get money because you have good personal credit. You have a 685 score or higher. You can get money for your business based on any of these type of collateral. Maybe your credit sucks and you have a credit partner, a friend, a family member, a colleague, a business associate that has good credit. Well, then that'll open up 150 grand in unsecured financing for you. Maybe you don't have collateral, but you have a friend, a colleague, a family member, an associate that has a 401k IRA, stocks or bonds, or equipments they own free and clear. Let them leverage that to get you money. There's a lot of ways to get you money when you can't get money at a bank. But if you want to get a bank loan, you want to get an SBA loan, you've got to have a high enough bank credit score or bank rating to get approved, and it's primarily based on how much you keep in that business bank account. So what you need to know is do not go to apply for an SBA loan at your bank unless 3 months before you make sure that you're keeping 10 grand or more in that bank account. If you don't have that, well, go here. Go to an alternative option to borrow the 10 grand, put it in your bank account, leave it there for 90 days. Just whatever you do, you've got to have more than 10 grand to get an SBA bank loan. Now, there's more than just your balances that matter. It's really about bank management. So they're also going to look at the number of non-sufficient funds that you have. They're going to want to see positive cash flow, which means you're putting more money in the bank account than you're taking out. Thank you very much for the hearts. I really appreciate that. They want to make sure you've got consistent deposits as well, that you're regularly and consistently putting money into the bank account. And thank you guys. You guys are going crazy on the loves. I appreciate it. They also want to make sure that you've got the bank account open and it's not recently open, which is why you need to open your bank account the minute you set up your business entity. They also want to see if you have other bank products, other bank accounts, money market accounts, credit cards, other services and products that you're using from the bank. If you are doing this, then this will give you a high enough bank rating. But keep in mind, even if these things aren't the best, as long as you try to keep 10 grand or more in your business bank account, then you should have a high enough bank credit rating to qualify for an SBA loan. If you're a little less than that, you might not make it, but by managing your bank account responsibly, limiting your non-sufficient funds, putting more money in than you take out, having consistent deposits, aging your bank account, getting some other products at your bank, those things can compensate for not having the balance. So all those things is how we decode your bank credit score. It's not that complicated. It's not as complicated as FICO. It's not as complicated as your business credit scores we're going to talk about next week. It's fairly simple. You just need to make sure you keep at low 5 rating to be lendable, high 5, mid 5, or low 5. You have to have one of these three, and it comes down to keeping 10 grand or more on average in your bank account over the last 90 days. Again, if you don't have this, simple. Go to one of these methods, borrow the money, put the 10 grand in your bank account, keep it there for 90 days, and that's a simple hack where you can have the score that you need to be lendable with your bank. Guys, thanks for going crazy on the loves. That's awesome. And don't forget, non-sufficient funds matter. Having more money go in than you take out matters. Having consistent deposits, how long you've had your bank account, other products you use all matter. So this is important, guys. If you ever want to get a bank loan, not only do you need to have consistent cash flow, good credit, and collateral, you also have to have good consumer credit, good bank credit, and good business credit. For this, you just need to make sure you're monitoring that 90-day average and try to manage your bank account responsibly. And again, guys, as I mentioned, if you don't have what you need to get a bank loan, then look at one of these alternative forms of lending. Do you have revenue of $10,000 a month or more? You're probably lendable. Hey, welcome, small boys. Thanks for coming. If you have a 685 credit score or a guarantor that does, you're probably lendable. If you have collateral like any of these or a guarantor that has collateral, you're probably lendable. If you want to see if you're lendable, go here. CreditSuite.com/get funding, and you can fill out a simple finance qualifier and get approved. You can also talk to us more at CreditSuite.com/consult. We'll talk to you more about getting approved for business credit and financing. And if you want tips about getting credit and loans, well, then simply text the word tips to that number, 855-982-1820, and we deliver special videos that we only do called text training tips through this number every week. You know who it is? Tell Jim I'll call him to finish up. All right, man, I'll let him know. I will let Jim know that you will call him and finish up. And I think you're in the States right now, so welcome. And here are the business credit approvals. So a lot of business credit approvals you can get even if you can't get money at a bank. These are real approvals. Okay, and also keep in mind, if you have cash flow credit or collateral, you can still get money when you can't get money at a bank. But remember, if you want to go to a bank and you have these three things, you've got to have good consumer credit, bank credit, and business credit, and you just figured out what bank credit is. The banks are not going to tell you this, and you won't find it on Google, but now you know. You got to keep 10 grand or more in your bank account for the last 90 days. Manage your bank account responsibly. You'll have a high enough bank credit score to get approved. But keep in mind, if you want to get an even higher score, the more money you keep in, the higher your score, the easier it is to get approved. So if you can bank the money and keep as much in there as possible, try to keep 70 grand in there. Now, a lot of you that are starting up, that seems like a pipe dream. But as you build your business, it's going to become a reality, especially if you're getting access to these type of financing we talked about to grow the business, and you're getting access to business credit to build the business. This kind of capital will really skyrocket your success. And as you start to accumulate money, don't pull it all out, because you want to have it in there to get the highest bank rating possible to get the best kind of loan, especially with an SBA loan. Not a lot to the bank rating, okay? This isn't going to be like last week, and it's not going to be like next week where we talk about business credit scores, because the bank rating isn't that complicated. Manage your bank account responsibly, but most importantly, make sure you have $10,000 or more in your business bank account over the last 90-day period before you apply for a bank loan. If you don't keep the money in there now, no worries. What you need to do is make sure that you put the money in there 90 days before you apply for the bank loan, so your 90-day average is 10 grand. That's what's beautiful about coming to this kind of training. It's not like you need to keep 10 grand permanently in your account. Now you just know you need to have 10 grand in there 90 days before you apply. So now you have the hack to get you what you need to get the business bank loan. So, do you want to know how to get business credit? Do you want to know how to get the alternative types of financing? Go to our website, creditsuite.com/scope. Go to our previous trainings. Do you want to talk to us more about expediting the progress to take years of business credit building and condense it to months? Well, then give us a call, 877-600-2487. That's 877-600-2487. Or go right to our website, creditsuite.com/consult. Teresa Kennedy, welcome. I'm glad you're here. We're wrapping up, but I'm still glad you're here. And if you missed this and you came in late, go right to Periscope. You'll find our scope. You'll be able to play this for the next 24 hours. And after 24 hours, we put it right on our website, creditsuite.com/scope. So you can get all of our previous scopes there. Next week, we talk about business credit scores. We talk about Paydex. We talk about IntelliScore. We talk about your Equifax Small Business Risk Score. I'm going to break open and decode how business credit scoring works, because just like with bank credit, if you know how it works, you know how to control it, you know how to hack it. When you can control it and hack it in a legal way, then that's what's going to make you more lendable. And my goal is to help you get approved for the most money possible at the best terms. I figured out today I can pull Experian commercial reports from my alumni library access. That's awesome. I didn't know you could do that, but that's fantastic. It's pretty scary though, right? It's easy to get commercial credit reports, guys. Oh, Sherry Hall, welcome. First day on Periscope. So guys, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much for coming. If you want more for free, that's awesome, Teresa. That's cool. I might be hitting you up to get free Experian credit reports. But it's pretty freaky how easy other people can get your credit reports, people, which is why you need to build your business credit, because other people can easily access it. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you missed this and came in late, go to Periscope. Watch our whole scope. It didn't take a long time, but we decoded how your bank credit scores work. And we can also call me, Teresa. I might do that if I need Experian reports, but we're about ready to get access to Experian and DME reports, so we'll be going over some of those live on Periscope probably in the weeks and months to come. creditsuite.com/consult. If you want to talk to us more, just go there, schedule some time. Give us a ring, 877-600-2487. I'm going to wrap up for today. I look forward to seeing you next week, where we're going to decode how your business credit scores work. And remember, if you missed this, go right to Periscope. You can watch it live for the next 24 hours, or you can also go to our website, creditsuite.com/scope, and we'll probably have it a little bit later today with all the previous other Periscopes that we've done. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. See you next Wednesday at 4 o'clock when we decode how your business credit scores work. Thank you guys very, very much for the loves. And Teresa, do me a favor. I can't write that down right now, so email that info. Everybody, have a great day. See you next Wednesday at 4 o'clock when we decode how to get your business credit scores. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.